Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Good day and welcome. Welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments upon it. I'm your host, Preston Proctor. So, all right, weekend preview. Recording this on Friday, so whatever games happen tonight, which do not involve the three teams playing this weekend. Toronto, St. Louis, and Nashville, that is. But Sunday's game, but it's back-to-back, so I'm covering that. St. Louis is playing a back-to-back this weekend. Chicago and then Nashville. Nashville is playing Toronto on Saturday and then St. Louis on Sunday. No, this is not a... you're not listening to an old podcast. Yes, we're playing St. Louis again, and guess what? We will be playing them again in a couple days. It's a St. Louis. It's a St. Louis feeling. I don't know. That's not as clever as I wanted. So some of the data might slightly change based upon things tonight, but all in all, the numbers are what they are. I guess the bad or the lengthy part of this will be Saturday's game is here in Nashville and Sunday is in St. Louis. So I will be covering both home and road statistics. And I'll try to remember not to talk about both the same things twice or about the same statistics. Hopefully, I think if I go through the home statistics and then back up and do it again, going through the road statistics, I think that'll be better. That way, if you're listening to it and you're re-listening to it, you can just find one specific part. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I might forget and just do whatever I do when I get to it. Anyway, so welcome to the show. So as of last night, Chicago has been eliminated from potential playoffs. I know it was a shock that was coming. But we should the Preds should have about a good week before their hopes are officially dashed. Well, let's see. I haven't done this in a while, but St. Louis is currently in the second wildcard spot, jumping ahead just a touch on that datum. The Preds at 58 points to the Blues 77, so that's a 19-point gap. The Preds have 14 games left, so a potential 28 points left for the Preds and 19 points between them, so that's 9 points. Can be chewed up pretty quickly. St. Louis wins 3 games, gets 6 points, and the Preds play, 3 games and they'll get any. Well, then what's that? That's suddenly your 25-point gap with only can't do my math 11, so 22. So it could happen within a week, but hopefully the Preds start winning again, and put that off just a tad. Doesn't really matter when it happens; it's going to happen. But why not just leave San Jose and Chicago down there at the bottom for a while? All right. Well, this weekend's opponents are both in the playoff hunt. Toronto is, for Toronto, I guess skipping ahead a little bit, they are second in the Atlantic with 87 points. They are kind of in it with Florida, who is also at 87, and Tampa Bay at 85. Those three teams have a nice little cushion on Ottawa, 8 points. And a cushion on Ottawa, 8 points, but Ottawa is the first wild card spot currently in the East. But yeah, I think with an 8-point cushion between Tampa Bay and Ottawa, that it's pretty much Florida, Toronto, Tampa Bay at the top of that division. The orders just need to be order needs to be figured out. Tampa Bay has played one less game and is 2 points behind. So, assuming that game is a win, they would all be tied at 87 points with 13 games left. So pretty tight right there. Washington, I guess Washington has has claimed a playoff spot. They've got 100 points. They are assured of being in the playoffs. No real surprise there. Clinched, that's what I'm looking for. Clinched a playoff berth at 100 points. Most likely they're going to win the Metropolitan. They got a 12-point lead over Carolina. So, and Carolina has 14 games left. So that's looking pretty centered. The President's Cup, I guess, up. Washington and Winnipeg, both at 100 points. Washington's played one less game than Winnipeg, but that is still a touch up in the air. And I think, and it looks like pretty much just between those two teams, I think. I'll take a quick look here, a little bit of a diversion. Yeah, Dallas is third at 90, so there's a 10-point gap between Washington and Winnipeg and the next team. So the President's Cup will come out between those two teams. Did not help New York Rangers last year to be the President's Cup. Generally, it doesn't. The President's Cup team generally does not win the Stanley Cup. It's fairly rare for that to happen, and that's enough about that. So Saturday's opponent is the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs. I have been to Toronto. I have seen a game there. We wore our Kings gear. I think it was I think it was 2015. But it was the year after the Kings won the Stanley Cup, and so we went to a game. We went out to a bar beforehand, and people kind of razzed us a little bit for not realizing who was in town, because the Kings were not in town, but gave us props for representing the Stanley Cup winner. So the stadium seemed a little old, but fantastic. Light display on the ice beforehand. I don't remember who. I think we were pulling for Toronto because we were in town. I don't remember who they were playing, but the fans were great. The stadium, the game was good. The stadium seemed a little dated, a little old, but all in all, good experience. We got to see the Stanley Cup, and it must have been 2013 because the Kings' names weren't on it yet. And we were a little disappointed about that. Definitely wanted to see Jonathan Quick's name. As the long-term listeners know, I've been a Kings fan for how long? Let's see. I moved to L.A. in 1999. Is that right? Yeah, 99. So I lived in LA for 5 years. And then we moved to the Seattle area in 2004. So since 1999, been a Kings fan. The Preds were playing better. But, soon, gosh, that's 26 years. Wow. Wow. Time flies. Anyway, so Kings fan for about 26 years. And been here in Nashville for about 4.5. We pulled for the Preds. I think again, long-winded, but when Kopitar retires, Doughty retires, I think probably will not be as much of Kings fans, and it'd be more Preds fans. Be helpful if the Preds were playing better. It'd be a little easier. I tried being a Mariners fan while I was in Seattle, and boy, that just did not take. But as a tough team to pull for, especially when they have a commitment to losing. Not a commitment to winning or excellence, a commitment to losing. Anyway, so we're not baseball. Has baseball started? I don't know. I don't follow baseball. Anyway, I don't think baseball started yet. I think it starts maybe next week. And then all the sports shows, all they'll want to do is talk about baseball. They love baseball on sports shows.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Anyway. So Toronto, this is the second and last game versus Toronto. Toronto is our opponent. This is not Kings talk. This is Predators proclivity. The Toronto Maple Leafs are in town for Saturday night's game. Let's take a quick peek here. It is at 6:00. And then they go to St. Louis and play at 5 on Sunday. Both of those central times. But St. Louis isn't that far away. It seems like the announcers don't even want to consider St. Louis to be part of a road trip. I wonder, since they play St. Louis on Sunday and then Carolina on Tuesday, whether the announcers would consider that to be a 2-game road trip. Anyway, okay. So Toronto is coming Saturday night, and for the second and last game versus Toronto. This is the only game in Nashville. Toronto won in Toronto. The Maple Leafs won in Toronto 2-3 when they played earlier this year. And last year, the home team held serve. Hopefully that will continue this year. Nashville won 3-2 in overtime at home, and Toronto won 4-0 last year. So we got the 3-2. So maybe the Preds will win 4-0 tomorrow night, Saturday night. That'd be great. Not likely. Toronto is 42-24-3. On the road, they are 20-11-2. Second in the Atlantic, as I said, 87 points, tied with Florida. Who has one more wild. Huh. Yeah, ESPN, I'm sorry. ESPN is showing them. Oh, that's wild. When I just look at the on ESPN, look at the standings, they show Toronto in second. If you just look at division, if you look at the wild card, well, here it is again. it's still what is standings if you look in the league? Is it the league? I don't know. Somehow it swapped them. It was just a minute ago I was looking at them and they swapped them. They had Toronto in first. But Florida has one more regulation win, which breaks the tie and puts them above Toronto. So all things being equal, Florida does have the first tie break between those two teams. Tampa Bay also has 34 regulation wins, but they played one less game. So if that were a win, they would be tied with Florida. And then regulation overtime wins. So I think that regulation overtime win would break the tie, and Tampa Bay would be on top. So, that's all pretty tight. So currently today, Toronto is second in the Atlantic, and I've already gone through all that time. It is the end of a 2-game road trip for them. They are 1-0. They beat the Rangers last night 4-3. For Sunday's game, Sunday's opponent is St. Louis. It is the third game of 4 versus St. Louis, and the second of a rapid-fire series of 3 games versus St. Louis, but it's the third of 4 versus St. Louis, the last one there. So far, St. Louis has won both, 7-4 in St. Louis and 1-4 in Nashville. The Preds lost the first and third periods in both of the games so far this year. Last year, Nashville swept St. Louis 3-0, or they swept in 3 games last year, and 8-3 in St. Louis, 5-2 in St. Louis, and 6-3 in Nashville. And last year, Nashville did not lose any periods. They were 6-0-3. So far, they have not won any period, so they are 0-4-2 this year in periods. Before the other night game, both teams tend to score in all periods, except last year St. Louis didn't score in 2 of the second periods, and this year Nashville the first and third. St. Louis is 35-28-7. And they are 17-14-3 at home. They are in 5th in the Central with 77 points, 6 points back of Minnesota, who's played 1 less, 4 more than Utah, who's played 1 less. Today, this morning, they are currently the second wild card in the West, 1 point ahead of Vancouver, who they beat last night. So that's good. Beat the teams that you're in competition with. So they're 1 point ahead of Vancouver, who's played 1 less game, though. 2 points ahead of Calgary, who has played 2 less. So Calgary's really in the driver's seat for that wild card 2 spot. If they win, hey, you win and you're in. They're the ones that really kind of, since they have more games to play and are only 2 points out of the wild card spot, they are really the team that is in the driver's seat, and they have to have a hiccup for somebody else to get the second wild card spot. St. Louis, Minnesota is currently in the first wild card spot with 83 points, so 6 points ahead of St. Louis, 1 less game. That's looking unlikely, but for looking unlikely for Minnesota to be a divisional spot. They're 4 points behind Colorado, who's played 1 more game, so I guess 85. So still a chance. There's still there's a chance. Minnesota was one of the hottest teams in the league at the beginning of the season, and now they're fighting for a wild card spot. Colorado and Dallas are up ahead of them. Winnipeg is at 100 points, so they're 10 points ahead of Dallas. They're looking pretty good to be in a divisional spot, if nothing else, if they fall apart. So as Minnesota has a chance of overtaking Colorado. Dallas would have to fold, I guess. So, St. Louis, their opportunity to getting into the playoffs, the Kings are at 83 points. They're third in the Pacific, and there's 7 points between them and Vancouver. So there's a good gap between the top three in the Pacific and the fourth team. So I think Vancouver is really going to be looking for that wild card spot, again, unless somebody trips up. Minnesota, one of the wild card spots is definitely going to be coming out of the Central. So the question really is whether they're able to get to. Utah is still kind of in the mix. They're 4 points behind St. Louis. They played one less game. But I think, I guess they're still in the mix. I don't, again, I think Calgary really is the team in the driver's seat. Vancouver also is in pretty good position. And then St. Louis is right there. So for Utah to be able to climb over Calgary, Vancouver, and St. Louis to get into that second wildcard spot seems a little unlikely. But yeah, so the Blues are currently in the second wildcard spot, and so they have a lot to play for. And they showed it the other night, that's for sure. Okay, for them, this game will be the third game of a 4-game homestand. They are currently 1-0, having beaten Vancouver in overtime 4-3 last night. They have a back-to-back. They'll be playing Chicago Saturday night, and then Sunday, Nashville comes to town. Let's see, their times. I guess they're kind of nice. They've got Chicago at 2 o'clock on Saturday, so they have, 27 hours between the two start times versus Nashville that has to travel and has less time. Woohoo. Gotta love it. It's a schedule.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
As far as Toronto goes, let's talk a little bit about personnel changes. Toronto, they did have, that looks like they had 4 trades at the trade deadline. They traded forward Nikita Grabenikin and a first-round 2027 draft pick to Philadelphia for forward Scott Lawton, a fourth-round 2025 and a sixth-round 2027 pick. They traded defenseman Connor Timmins and forward Connor Dewar to Pittsburgh for a fifth-round 2025. Forward Fraser Minton and a conditional first-round 2026 and a fourth-round 2025 to Boston for defenseman Brandon Carlo. And then in AHL, future consideration to Minnesota for forward Reese Johnson. So they traded so they received a defenseman and a forward, and they traded a forward, 2 forwards. That didn't look up Connor Timmins and Connor Dewars, but that a fifth round 2025 for 2. That sounds like an AHL trade. So made a couple of moves right at the deadline. Traded the defenseman, traded for a defenseman and a forward. We'll see how that works out for them. As far as their injuries go, they've got 2 players that are that are out for the game. No notable stats and no transactions. St. Louis, if you remember, they were one of the teams that did nothing at the trade deadline, and their top defenseman, time on ice, 2351, Colton Parayko is out. He's out until the playoffs, maybe longer, but at least until the playoffs. So it didn't seem to bother them the other night. All right, your Nashville Predators, they are 25-35-8 at home, 17-14-3. Still a winning record. It's getting a little tighter. On the road, just a pathetic 8-21-5. There's no other way to say that. I didn't take a look, but they had the worst road record. Well, I guess Chicago is behind them now, 7-23-5. At San Jose is 8-20-7. So I guess technically it's a little better. Let's see, they got two more points, one less loss, two more OTs. So, Buffalo 10-20-3. That's still better. Yeah. Okay, so Chicago has the worst record on the road now. They're working hard to try to get into the bottom of the league. They are 4 points ahead of San Jose right now. They're even on number of games played. Both teams have 13 games left. Race to the bottom. Yeah, so a really bad road record makes the stats look even worse. But we'll look for a little bit of a good news or prospect in the when we start looking at the stats. The Preds are comfortably in the seventh spot of the Central Division, 58 points, 9 points ahead of Chicago. Still, 9 points ahead of Chicago, who has played one more, and 15 behind Utah, who's played one more. Toronto, the Toronto game will be the last of a 3-game homestand. They're 0-2, having lost 4-1 to both St. Louis and Anaheim. And the St. Louis game will be the first game of a 2-game road trip. I mentioned that Tuesday they will be in Carolina. As far as personnel changes, Yossi's still out and not expected to be back till maybe the last game of the year. Dallas, maybe not. I guess we'll see. But he's not expected to be back. Not really in a hurry to get him back either. I think they're auditioning the defensemen that we've got and seeing how it goes.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, so let's start taking a look at statistics here. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do it. Okay, so let's the home stats. Okay, so the Preds, because the first game is a home game, so they're 17-14-3. First goal, which they did get against Anaheim. And I swear my numbers are not changing. The 68, 24-29, 36-39. Yeah, okay, that adds up. 15, 18, 18. 18 and 16, 34. Numbers add up. I don't know why. It doesn't look right. But I guess it is right because the numbers add up. Okay, well, anyway, so home. The first goal, which they did get against Anaheim last night. They did get the first goal. Yeah, they got the first goal and then gave up 3 in the second. So when they get the first goal, 10-5. Oh, yeah, okay, that's where the number went because they got it and they lost. So it went from 10-4-3 to 10-5-3. Sorry, a little confusion. I should just talk and not think, but I think and don't talk, which is great for an audio-only medium. So 10, 5, and 3 when they get the first goal. So that's still, if you look at just wins losses, it's 10 and 8. So still an advantage for the Preds when they get the first goal. It hasn't worked out in either way lately, actually. Interestingly enough, they did get it against Anaheim in that loss, and then San Jose they did, but against Chicago in the win they did not. Seattle with the win they did not. Boston in a win they did not. Boston was on the road. Seattle and Chicago were at home. So 7 and 9 when they don't get it. So pretty much even money in both directions, I guess, actually. But, maybe a slight advantage for the Preds when they get it and the slight advantage when they don't. The second period, they're 3-3 overall at home. 0-1 when the Preds get the first goal in the second period, and 3-2 when the other team gets the first goal in the second period. The first goal has not happened in the third period. At home, only once this season, which is, I think it was more last year, but anyhow, so a little bit of an advantage as far as the periods go. They are now 16, 7, and 11 in the first, 10, 16, and 8 in the second, 13, 15, and 6 in the third. So losing record in the third and second, the second period being really bad and really bad, really, really, really bad. The important thing there, again, is how they correlate to victories. And when they win the first period, which they did the other night, and they still lost, they're 11-5 now when they win the first period. 1-6 if they lose it, and 5-6 if they tie. Again, at home, when they tie any period, it's a coin flip. The 8 times they tied the second period, 4-4, tied the third period, 3-3. When they win the second period, they're 9-1. When they win the third period, they're 12-1. Taking out the empty nets, they are 8-1 when they win the third period. The interesting thing there is that they're being outscored, but we're not talking about scoring just yet. When they won. The other night they won the first period and they lost the second. That's happened 7 times when they've won the first period. They've come back and so when they've won the first period, let's start there. Let's start with being clear. When they win the first period, 5 times they have won the second, 7 times they've lost the second, and 4 times they've tied it. So when they win the first period and then they win the second period, they're 5-0. When they in the 5 times, so when they win the first and lose the second, all hope is not lost. But they are 3-2-2. So a little bit more weight towards losing the game, about even between regulation and overtime. And then if they tie the second, they're 3-0-1. So if they win the first and then lose the second, if they do anything but lose the second, they've got a really good shot at winning the game. So if they win or tie this season, that's happened 9 times, and they are 8-0-1. So winning the first really sets them up at home, and that's pretty much it. If they lose the first and they win the second, that's only happened twice, and that's 50%. But they have lost the second, lost the first, lost the second 3 times. Lost the first, tied the second. That's 2 times, and losing and tying are all losses. So in the 3-5-7, the 7 times they've lost the first period, they're 1-6. Not even overtime loss or extra time loss there. Tying, there's hope if they tie the first period and then win the second, they're 3-0. But I guess if it tied, it's a coin flip. So there's still a little hope if they tie the first, tie the second, just not much. And if they tie the first and lose the second, they have pulled it out 1-5, but not. But overall, if they tie the first period, they're 5-3, 4, 5, 5-6, which is kind of a coin flip. But I guess it makes sense. You tie a period, it doesn't really advance your cause very much. It doesn't advance the other guy's cause very much either. But yeah. So anyway, so that's the combinatorics there on the home winning situation. Let's see, moving on. Winning by period result correlations. Just talked about that. The winning goal. Let's see, the winning goal at home. Overall 29% in the third period. Followed closely by the second and then the first. 10 times in the third, 9 in the second, 8 in the first. So it's really not. It's really shockingly even. Last year at home, it was pretty even between the second and third periods for the winning goal to be scored. 32% in the second, 34% in the third. Heavily weighted towards the Preds getting the winning goal in the second period, 39%, and the opponents getting the winning goal in the third period, 44%, which was kind of the trend last year, even on the road, is for the home team to get the winning goal in the second period. The home team last year, 50% of the time, got the winning goal in the second period, and the opposing team got 43%. I think that's been a little bit skewed this year because the Preds have lost so much on the road. The home team is still getting the winning goal in the second period, 33%, followed closely by the third, not real surprising, but the road team is winning 40%, getting the winning goal 40% of the time in the second period. So it is the home team's a third of the time, which is the highest percentage, getting it in the second period, and the road team the highest percentage, 40% in the second period. So that's a little bit different from last year. And right now, the Preds, if they get the winning goal at home, which is enough games to actually care about. 35%, and when they lose 35% in the second period scenario that happened last night. That's six games, so that's hard to make. Well, I mean, what is that? 14, 17, almost 20. So it's almost statistically significant. That particular number. So it's the winning goal scoring. Which is just a sad discussion in general. They are being outscored everywhere except the first period. In the first period, well, when they win, they are outscoring the other team in the first, second, and the third. But overall, they're only outscoring their opponents in the first, 34-26. And being outscored by 11, math went the wrong way, 11 in the second, and by 4 in the third. And even taking out the empty net goals, it goes up because the Preds have gotten 2 more empty net goals than their opponents here in Nashville. And then taking a look at the different scenarios in the second and third period, when the Preds enter the second period winning, they're being outscored 11-17, which is what happened last night. When they are tied coming into the second period, they're being outscored 13-16 in the second. And when they come into the second period losing, they're being outscored 4-6. Now they do in the third period, if they come into the third period winning, they are outscoring their opponents 16-10, but 8 of those are empty net goals. So they're really being outscored 8-10 in the third period. When they're winning coming into the third period, when they're tied coming into the third period, they're being outscored 5-8, 2 empty net goals for the opponents and 1 for the Preds. So that comes down to 4-6. That narrows the gap a little bit. And then if they enter the third period losing, they're being outscored 12-19, which taking out the empty net goals, the Preds have 1 and the opponents have 6. They're being outscored 11-13. So in every scenario coming into the second and third period, the Preds are being outscored, which is not a happy thought. All right. Well, the Preds did get a power play goal. Stamkos got a power play goal in the first period. So they are up to 28% getting in the first period with on the power play, 28% in the first period, 18 in the second, and 26 in the third. Their opponents are now at 8% in the first period. They in there in Nashville. It was 0 until I started mentioning it. The opponents have now gotten 2 power play goals in the first period since then, but that's on 26 opportunities in the first, so 8%, and 18% in the second, and 21 in the third. So not increasing percentages. The 28% for the Preds in the first and 26 in the third is great. They get about the same. They've had about the same. Well, no, they've had way more. I'm looking at the wrong numbers. They've had more opportunities in the first than in the third, 32-23. And in the second, they've had the most opportunities, 39, but they also do the worst, 18% there. So, in the first period, they've got 9 power play goals on 32 opportunities. So you have to like that. And then 6 goals on 23 opportunities, so 9 less opportunities and 3 less goals. So that's at 33%. So that's a 6 on 23 is still pretty good there. So the special teams, they do pretty good. Hey, and I think I got through that. Okay, so
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's go back up and talk about the road stats. Road stats. Puh. I say puh. Okay, so heavily biased by the really poor road record of the Preds. 8-21-5. So on the road, if they get the first goal, 6-3-2. So a little bit more better than a coin flick, slightly better for the Preds to get the first goal. If they do not, they're 2-18-3. So, so on the road, if the opponents get the first goal, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. One thing that is it's happened 10 times at least. In the second, if the first goal is in the second period, if the Preds get it, they've won all 4 times they've got it, and if the other team gets it, they've won all 6 times. So that's a clear that's a clear indicator right there. Kind of really a little strange actually, but. So the Preds getting the first goal in the first period, they're 2-3-2. So it's actually not, if the Preds get the first goal in the first period, it's not that good of an indicator because they're 2-5, right? Yeah, so I just, yeah. They're better off getting the first goal in the second period on the road. Tie the first, win the second. I like that. I like that scenario. And then so let's talk about the winning by period. Winning by period, the Preds, of course, having the record that they do, they have a miserable record in all three periods. Interestingly enough, they've got the most wins in the second. Go figure. But they are 6-11-17 in the first period, just abysmal, and 8-16-10 in the second, and then 7-15-12 in the third. So at least in the first period, the highest number is not with losses. I guess that's your good takeaway. I guess not losing the period, they're 23-11, so they've got about a 2-1 chance of not losing the first period, and then it all goes down the drain. And it all goes down the drain from there. And okay, so we did this for the other one, so we may as well look at the correlations. So the correlations. The 6 times that they have won the first period, they're 2-4. So yeah, again, not outstanding. 1-10 when they lose the first period, and 5-12. The most wins, interesting, is when they tie the first period. 5 wins, 5 of 12. The second period correlation is where you start to see it. They're 6-2 when winning the second period, 1-15 when losing, and 1-9 when tying. So really, I have to say winning the second period seems pretty key on the road. Just escaping back, it's winning the first period when they are at home. And then the third period, of the 7 times they've won the third period, they're 5-2, 1-14 if they don't, and 2-10 if they tie it. So 1-14 if they lose, and 2-10 if they tie the third period. So again, very, very heavily weighted towards needing to win, not the first period. What they need to do is tie. But let's take a look at those combinations. And interestingly enough, on the road, they have never won the first and won the second. What they've done the most is tie the first and win the second, and they're 5-0 when they tie the first and win the second. So I really like that one. If they tie the first and lose the second, they're 0-7, and if they tie the first and tie the second, they're 0-3-2. So their only chance of winning on the road is if they tying the first and winning the second. That's the best chance. If they lose the first, 3 times they've won the second, and they're 1-1-1 coin flip. And as I said, they haven't won the first, won the second. Losing the first, losing the second, they're 0-5. No surprise. You lose 2 periods. And if they lose the first and tie the second, they're 0-3. So again, that's not a winning scenario. Okay, so when they win the first, they have never won the second. So if they win the first and lose the second, which has happened 4 times, they're 1-1-2. And then if they win the first and tie the second, they're 1-1. So it's hard to say. You really, on the road, pull for them to tie the first, but really tie the first, get the first goal, and win the second. First goal in the second and win the second. So no scoring. So you pull for no scoring in the first period when the Preds are on the road, and then hope they get the first goal and win the second period, and then it's all home sailing from there. The winning goal on the road is heavily in the second period, 44%. Which is, it's kind of in line with last year. Last year, 41% of the first goals were or the winning goals was in the second period. So that's really in line with last year. 29% is second in the third period getting the second most, with 29%. when the Preds win, evenly split. Those 8 wins, evenly split between getting the winning goal in the second, winning goal in the third. And when the Preds lose, which has happened a lot, 42% of the time it's happening in the second period. So you can really, really kind of look to say that when the Preds are on the road, the winning goal is going to get scored in the second period. Yeah. So that's yeah. Briefly touching on this again, when the Preds, when the home team wins, 33% of the time it's in the second period, which is followed closely by the third. And then with the road team wins, 40% in the second, followed closely by the third. So not real surprised that it's second and third, but more heavily weighted towards the winning goal happening in the second period. Goal scoring, this ought to be fun. Looking at goal scoring on the road, they're being outscored in the first period, 20-32, outscored in the second period, 28-43, and outscored in the third period, 26-37. So a gap of 12 in the first, 15 in the second, and 11 in the third. And even taking out the empty net goals, it becomes 20-27. So they're still being outscored by 7. I neglected to talk about the averages, but just go back real quick. At home, 4 goals is when the Preds are at home here in Nashville, as opposed to being home somewhere else. The winning team tends to get 4 goals, 4.1 when the Preds win, 4.2 for the opponents, and the losing team gets less than 2. And we saw that the last 2 nights, 4-1. On the road, very similar, somewhat similar. The road, well, they lose so much. Just under 4 goals scored against them when they lose on the road, and when they win, 4.3. And a fair number of empty net goals. Well, they've got 6 empty net goals for 8 victories. So that lowers it a touch. Taking out the empty net goals, it's solidly at 3.5. 3.5 for the winner, the Preds or the other teams when the Preds are on the road. So 3.5 goals to the opponents will get 2.1. The Preds 1.5. So their Preds are really pretty anemic when it comes to scoring goals on the road. That looks well. They've lost a lot, and that explains why. That they're not scoring on. They're going on the road and keeping the pucks in their pocket, keeping the goals in their pockets. All right. Special teams. I think I've done pretty good here, sticking with home and road. On the road, the Preds are actually the best on the power play in the second period. Shocker. 28%. Anemic, 11% in the first and third. But 28%. They've got 11 goals on 39 opportunities. Yay. Who knew? I guess they need more power plays. Now, the opponents are also 27% in the second period, 12 power play goals on 45 opportunities. A lot more opportunities for the other guys, 41 in the first to the Preds 19. So on the road, the opponents are getting twice as many penalties, power play opportunities in the first period than the Preds. It gets closer in the second period, and the Preds have a little bit of an advantage in the third. But they're not making it pay. They've scored 4 goals on 38 opportunities to the opponent's 7 on 29. So the opponents have a 24% scoring rate in the third period on the road, and 27 in the second. So yeah, I guess what you could say is if there's a power play in the second period when the Preds are on the road, watch out. There's going to be a score.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Okay, enough of that. Let's take a look at the matchups. Thank goodness. Boy, what disastrous numbers to look at. So we've already touched on the fact that the Preds don't know how to score. They're being outscored. Toronto is one of the better teams in the league. They are 8th in scoring. They 221. They scored 221. The biggest number is in the second period. The 61 goals in the first, 64 in the third, to a whopping 89 in the second period. And that's one thing I should have looked up is where. I do know. A whopping 89. Yeah, so they are first. They are first in the league in scoring in the second period. That Toronto is first in the league in scoring in the second period. In the second period. Yes, thank you. St. Louis is 6th in the league. I know that's scoring against. As far as scoring for, then they dropped to 27th in the league. So 60, interestingly enough, the 61 in the first, 64 in the third. But because since scoring goes up, it goes up. Well, I didn't do that math, but it goes up between the first, second, and third period. They're 14th in the league in the first, but 27th with more goals in the third. But that's okay because the Preds are 32nd in the league in the third. They are 32nd in scoring overall. St. Louis is right in the middle. Toronto is one of the better scoring teams. St. Louis is in the middle, and the Preds are at the bottom. So that's how that goes. The St. Louis scores pretty evenly throughout, which is they showed the other night, and 64, 70, 66, so pretty even. They are 10th in the league in scoring in the first period, which they proved the other night. So St. Louis is one of the best teams scoring in the first, and Toronto is one of the best teams scoring in the second, and none of these three teams like to score in the third. As far as goals against, the Preds are 9th in the league. Toronto and St. Louis right in the middle, though, so they can be scored upon. 202 goals scored against for Toronto, 205 now scored against for St. Louis. So St. Louis has reached that point where they have more goals for than goals against, so that's why they are also in a playoff position. And the Preds have had 222 goals scored against them, which is only 20 more, I guess 10%, but 20 more than Toronto. So, it's not necessarily, it's not the giving up the goals or giving up the ghost. It's the scoring of the goals that seem to be the problem. Goals against, the Preds are pretty stingy. They are 19th in the league, despite the game in St. Louis, but they held Anaheim. Woohoo! And St. Louis hard to score against in the second period. They're 29th in the league in being scored against, but that's okay because Nashville is 6th. Nashville likes teams to score against them in the second period. That's the highest goal scoring for them, 81. So the Toronto game should be really exciting in the second period. They like to score. They're the best team at scoring in the league, and the Preds are one of the best teams to score against. Close your eyes and just hope it gets over in the second period. In Toronto, at least they're playing that game here. So the second period against Toronto should be scary. All three teams give up about the same number of goals, 75 for Toronto and St. Louis and 76 for the Preds. All middle range for the league. In goals against, the St. Louis is 6th in the league in the first period. So maybe the Preds can, oh, wait, they're 28th in the league in scoring in the first period. So they don't like to score in this first period. So it'll be really kind of a battle to see whether or not St. Louis can give up a goal. Maybe they'll shoot it in their own net. I don't know. But that looks like kind of how things are going to go. The Preds' best opportunity against St. Louis would be in the first, and everybody's best opportunity against the Preds is in the second, especially Toronto. And as far as scoring against Toronto, they are middle of the league in all three periods. So, pretty solid being scored against. I think the question is whether or not the Preds can score against St. Louis in the first, which they were not able to do the other night, and then how much they can limit the goal scoring in the second. At least they're at home, I guess, is the good news. The good news there. When it comes to the penalty situations, the Preds power play, the penalty kill is one of the best in the league. Still 8th in the league. St. Louis is 29th, one of the worst. And Toronto is right there in the middle at 16th. So the Preds have given up the least number. 37 goals scored against them in 203 opportunities. And Toronto is close, 202 opportunities and 44 goals against. So they've given up 7 more goals on one less opportunity. That 202 and 203 is ninth, and I guess in that order, is ninth and 8th in the league, 8th most. So the Preds have been on the power play the 8th most number of times, and Toronto the 9th most. And St. Louis, their 164 opportunities is 5th least, but they've given up 45 goals against, which is one more than Toronto, and that's on 38 less opportunities. So they're not. Their penalty kill not very good. I think the was that the Anaheim game. Everything can be a little bit different since the trade deadline, but in general, that's where they're at. As far as the power play, once again, we are running into one of the best teams in the league, Toronto. On the power play, they are 6th at a whopping 25.5%, 48 goals scored on 188 opportunities. The Preds have had a similar number of opportunities on the power play, 189, but have only scored 39. So that's still 20%. They're 21st in the league. So St. Louis and Nashville are right there in the middle of the league as far as percentages go. St. Louis has also had one of the least number of power play opportunities, third lowest total, 159, in the third lowest in the NHL. Nashville is 19th and Toronto is 20th. So middle of the road. Interesting, the numbers are lining up right there. Toronto and Nashville, they're have taken and given up about the same number of penalties, 202 to 203 goals, power penalty kill opportunities to 188, 189. So the Preds have had one more in both, but the same numbers. So special teams going to be kind of interesting against Toronto. Probably be a few penalties in that game. It's at home, so hopefully it's in the first and third. All right, so let's move on. That's your matchups.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The goaltenders. I got the goaltenders wrong last night. Tuesday night, somehow or another, Hofer wound up in goal for St. Louis. Didn't really catch why, but I was wrong. And then last night, Anunen showed up in goal against Anaheim, which is surprising because we've got this back-to-back coming up. Speaking of which, let's get prepped before anybody notices that we aren't ready for this discussion. Hey, Anyway, so the goaltenders for Saturday and Sunday. Toronto has Joseph Woll at 24-12-0, and Anthony Stolarz 14-8-3. Mostly sharing duties. We did see Woll earlier this year when we played in Toronto, that 3-2 win, Toronto's 3-2 win. So Nashville lost 2-3 in Toronto. Last year, different goaltender for Toronto. It was Samsonov. So he was 1-1 against the Preds, but who cares? He's not there this year. Kind of looks like Woll and Stolarz are playing 2 each right now, whatever. They kind of either alternate 1-1 and play 2. Woll played the 2 home games. Stolarz was in goal against the Rangers in the win last night, Thursday night. So I'm thinking it's going to be Stolarz. They don't have a back-to-back coming up, so I think Stolarz will get his second start, and then they'll go back to Woll. That's what it kind of looks like. For St. Louis, Jordan Bennington. Gosh, I don't know why I always want to say his name wrong. Bennington. He's 22-21-4. He gets about 2 starts to each one of Joel Hofer, who is 13-7-3. I say that, but lately they have been alternating, which is why Hofer was in goal. Hofer? I don't know. Was in goal against Nashville the other night. So far, Hofer has been in goal both times we have played St. Louis. Both been wins for St. Louis. A 4-7 loss in St. Louis and a 1-4 loss in Nashville. Last year, Hofer was in goal for the first game. They had the same 2 goaltenders last year, St. Louis did. He was 0-1 last year, losing 3-8, but Nashville swept St. Louis last year. Benningham was in goal for the last 2, so he was 0-2. Yeah, and they look to be alternating now. They do have a back-to-back. They are playing Chicago on Saturday and Nashville on Sunday. Benningham was in goal Thursday night versus Vancouver, so I think if they keep this alternating going on, it'll be Hofer against Chicago and Benningham in Nashville. Now, taking a look at their back-to-back records, this is the 10th back-to-back for St. Louis. It is the second one, which has been a home-and-home series. Their last home-and-home series, they did go 1-1. They had a shootout loss to Winnipeg when Hofer was in goal, and then Benningham played against Colorado for a win. So that was the home-and-home. Just in general, at home they are 5-1. So that one shootout loss is their only loss in back-to-back games in St. Louis. But they are 3-6 overall on the back end of these back-to-back. So that's encouraging, I suppose. So 3-6, 3-6 in the back end, and but those 6 losses were all on the road apparently, because they're 3-0 at home in the back end of the back end of that, and Benningham is 2-0 in those games. So that's not encouraging. But hey. Got to play the games. I think Benningham in goal against Nashville. For Nashville, UC Saros 16-27-6 is playing 2 or 3 for each one of Justice Ananen's 8-6-1. That might be changing too with where we're at in the current season. They might be wanting Annunen to get a little bit more starts and a little bit more play. Why not? You get him more time in the crease, makes him a better goaltender, right? Hopefully. So this year against Toronto, Saros is 0-1, and against St. Louis, Saros is 0-2. So this year, Saros has been in goal every time we've seen these two teams. So that that will change, I assume. I don't suppose Saros will be in goal for 2 games this weekend. Last year against Toronto, Saros was 1-0. He had the 3-2 overtime win in Nashville. Lankinen was in goal for the loss in Toronto, and Annunen did not play against Toronto for Colorado last year. Against St. Louis, Lankinen was in goal for the first game with Nashville last year, and that was a win, 8-3 in St. Louis, and Saros was in goal for the last 2 since we swept St. Louis last year. He was 2-0. Annunen did play for Colorado against St. Louis last year. It was the last game, and that was a win, 4-3 in St. Louis. Annunen was in goal versus Anaheim. That was Thursday night's game. So I'm thinking Saros versus Toronto and Annunen versus St. Louis. The only scenario I can see is maybe Saros plays both, but I would not expect that. From a momentum standpoint, Toronto still has an excellent chance for first in the Atlantic. They have won 3 in a row. They are 5-4-1 in their last 10. St. Louis still has a chance at a wild card, but not the division. They've won their last 4 in a row, 7-2-1 in their last 10. As I said, they are going to be on a back-to-back. Nashville, didn't cover their back-to-back records. Nashville is on a 4-game losing streak, 4-5-1 in the last 10. Back-to-back this weekend, Toronto and St. Louis. Overall, in these, the Preds are 6-18. At home, they do have a winning record. They're 3-2 and 3-16 on the road. Looking, they even number of wins on the front end. They're 3-9. On the back end, they're 3-9. Saros is 0-3, playing the back end of games. Annunen is 2-5. Saros is 3-7 in the front half of these games. Let's see, home front. The home front game, the Preds are 1-1. That's encouraging. And on the road, in the back, they're 1-8. But on the road, they've lost so many games. So this is their 13th back-to-back of the season, not the last one. They've got another back-to-back coming up. That will be the last one. Philadelphia and Columbus will be it. But there you go. So their records in back-to-backs is not great. But most of the back-to-backs have been on the road, primarily on the road. 19 of the 24 games, so they've only had 5 games at home. They've had at least one where they had to cross a border during a back-to-back when they went from Winnipeg to Minnesota.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you want to get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. People to watch. Interesting for Toronto, not surprising, I guess. I had 4 names, and then I kept having to add on. Number 88, right wing William Nylander, first in goal scoring with 38, got a 9-goal edge over John Tavares, number 91. Then I just kept seeing Austin Matthews' name jump up all the time, but he's like third, but he was second in assists, but now he's third. Tavares has jumped up to second. And then you got number 16, right wing Mitch Marner, who's first in assists with 62. 62 assists, which is 27 more than second. The gap between him and second is almost as much as the second place person has assists. That's amazing. So he has 83 points. He's first in points and first in assists. He's also first in time on ice. First in ice, not just for forwards, but just first in ice time for Toronto, 21-26. That's rare to see a forward with more time than any defenseman. Speaking of defensemen, Chris Tanev, number 8, has a plus-minus of 29. He's got 17 points, but plus-minus of 29. 1945 time on ice. So that was just a number that just kind of jumped out at me. And then again, number 23, left wing Matthew Nyes. Have to call him out because he's got a shooting percentage of 21%, which over 20% is like the top 50 shooters in the league. 21%. He's played in, I think, in like 62 games. So he's played in a good number of games. 25 goals, 20 assists, and, not outstanding numbers. I guess 25 goals, that puts him up there. Third place for Toronto is 27. One of the top goal scorers. And I did not record his shots. That's, and I'm not going to do that math. So he's got 25. He's got 25, real quick here, 119. So 119 shots, which is a good number of shots, and 25 goals. So I'd say that to me is dangerous. His time on ice is 18 and a half minutes. So he's on the ice a lot. He's played in 65 games. So it's not like he's not been on the ice. That's scary. And it kind of sneaky too, since he's not the goal leader, he's not the assist leader, nowhere in points. He's got a -3 plus minus, none of his other stats, and then you see this 21%. So yeah, I think I hate to call out too many numbers because it gets to be a little hard to remember. And I don't really see a nice little metric here to use. But yeah, so 88, definitely Nylander, number 88, number 23, Knees for sure. I guess you can skip 8, Tanev, but I mean, something's going to happen when he's on the ice, but I think we know things are going to happen on the ice. So 23, Knees, 88, Nylander. And then, Mitch Marner is going to be on the ice more than a third of the game. If you want to contrast that to the center that's on the ice most is for the Preds is Ryan O'Reilly at 18:58, so almost 19 minutes. So he's 2.5 minutes more a game on average than Ryan O'Reilly. So yeah, that's a lot. You're going to see him on the ice whether you like it or not. So 34, Matthews, probably. Yeah. 88, 34, and 23. 88, 34, and 23. So I guess I had to call out three numbers. The 21% isn't, I guess calling this out, isn't first on the team. First on the team is center Kalle Jarnkrok, who is 25%, but he's only played in 7 games. He's got 1 goal on 4 shots, so that's not interesting. Yeah, so for Toronto, 88, 34, 23. For St. Louis, we saw them the other night. You know who to watch out for. 25, Kuru. Number 81, Holloway. 18, Thomas. So 81 and 18. And, their defensive guy who's on the ice the most is out. That didn't seem to matter. I guess looking at St. Louis, their forward that is on the ice the most is fifth in ice time. So there are 4 defensive men that have more ice time than him. And but he's right at 20 minutes, so 19:58. So he's out there about a whole period. But yet, then that's Thomas, so 18. So 18, 81, 25, and then 89. Don't worry about that one. 18, 81. They're on the ice. I think they're on the power play together. So that's your numbers for St. Louis. For Nashville, anything with a 9 in it, pay attention. Stamkos, 91, did get a goal last night. He's pulled up to second, climbed up to second in goal scoring, 2 behind Forsberg. For a while, Forsberg had lost. He was stuck on 9 for the longest time, and Marchessault and Stamkos got ahead of him, and then he took off, and everybody just sat there and watched him. So Stamkos got a goal the other night. So he's at 23. So that's 91. 90, Ryan O'Reilly. He's third ice time on the team. Yossi is out. So top on the team is Brady Skay, 2140. Nobody has that great of a plus minus. Blankenberg's even down to 8. So number 9, Philip Forsberg, 90 O'Reilly, 91 Stamkos, and divisible by 9, 81 Jonathan Marchessault. So those are the guys to look for. Svechkov was playing really well, hasn't really done much lately. It's kind of hard to call out anybody. Not that they're not playing well, but they're not scoring. Svechkov did have for a while a shooting percentage over 20, but that's just really gone down. Anyway, so that's your Nashville players. That's easy, 9 or divisible by 9, and there you go. All right. Well, so we got a back-to-back this weekend, but we're not back-to-back in Nashville. We are in Nashville on Saturday, and then heading to St. Louis for the start of a road trip. I call it a road trip. I don't care if they come back here afterwards and then go to Carolina. It's a road trip. Toronto is going to be in town for a 6:00 game here in Nashville. Playoff implications for those teams. So Nashville can play the spoiler. Really looking for these guys to step up their game. Toronto is going to be tough. And St. Louis, we've seen them. We're going to see them again here in a couple days. So, after Carolina. So we play them in St. Louis, then we go to Carolina, then we come back home to play St. Louis. Anyway. I did want to, I did go back and watch the McCarron hit in the St. Louis game, and I do see where I was confused because the guy did not have the puck. I guess the puck was coming to him. He went behind the net, was fighting for the puck, and didn't get it, and McCarron came around and hit him. So interference, sure. Game misconduct? No. He hit him really hard. So was it a 5-minute? The announcers seemed to think that was justifiable. I guess the issue became didn't lead. It looked like there was contact to the head because there was contact. McCarron was so much taller than this other guy, and the initial contact wasn't the head. But I do have to hand it off to the guy who was doing the color. It was not the goaltender guy, but the guy that used to play defenseman. I think he's Jay. I forget. And he, thank you, Jay, for adding a little bit more knowledge to the fact that it is no longer principal contact to the head in that type of a circumstance. And and I guess what he was also saying that they needed to be doing, because they changed the rules in order to accommodate this, was that something like that they should be calling a 5-minute to begin with and then go back and review. Because if they call it a 2-minute, then they can't review it. But give them the opportunity to make sure and make the right call in circumstances like that. If it's clear, I guess no big deal. But yeah, thanks, Jay. That was it was insightful. I actually liked listening to him, and then I'm not sure why he was doing that on for St. Louis, because the goaltender dude was back against Anaheim, and kudos for him for being a player. So he's got that on me, but I don't feel like I learn anything from him. And I like to listen to people that I can learn something from. I've been around the sport of hockey quite a bit in a couple different roles, primarily a viewer, a fan. So that gives me no insight at all. Sorry, fans. You can get some perspective, but yeah, it's in one direction, not like the band. Anyway, sorry, running along a little bit lengthy here, but yeah. So I was very happy with that commentary, and thank you. And I actually got something out of it. I was entirely expecting not to get anything out of the coverage, the TV coverage, and was very, very, very pleasantly surprised. So. Thanks again. But yeah, so apparently it was worth a 5-minute major because of the force and potentially where it happened on the ice. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't know about the game misconduct. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Yeah, I guess I could have looked up and seen how tall McCarron is, which I didn't do. I guess I can do it. Maybe I can do it real quick. 6'6". Holy cow! 6'6", and he wears skates. Oh, he's from Grosse Pointe. Huh, like that movie. Yeah, so 6'6". Boy, he did tower over that guy. 232 pounds. Woo, man. Call me out of the way. Anyhow, so Preds are in town for 6:00 game Saturday night against the Toronto Maple Leafs, 5:00 in St. Louis on Sunday. Thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No